Franchise tag players have 2 weeks to work out a long-term deal with their respective teams, which I think is a stupid rule. Like, why can't you extend a franchise tag guy a couple weeks later or during the season? Why? Stupid. Anyways, July 15th is the deadline for the Minnesota Fighting Vikings and free safety extraordinaire Anthony Harris to work something out long-term. Will they do it? Yeah, we've talked about that. Silence is good news in terms of contract negotiations because neither side are just trying to kick the other to make the other side look bad, get the ball rolling again. So I think that they may come to an agreement, or hell, maybe they're at the point where it's like, yeah, there's not going to be an agreement, so they're just chilling, just fully nihilistic about it. It's possible, right? But I think the Vikings N41 will work something out, and I think they probably should. So you already know the story about Anthony Harris, best free safety in the NFL. We've talked about it ad nauseum, blah, 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 blah. Looking at the safety market production value. So his agency also represents Cheeseburger Eddie Jackson of the Bears, as well as Kevin Byard of the Tennessee Titans. So, I mean, they know. They know the safety market. I think the Vikings are adamant about not going down that road in terms of money per year, as well as in terms of length of contract, because Anthony Harris does turn 29 in October, which... That's why we harp on draft prospect age so much, right? Because it does matter down the line, especially for the players looking at second and potentially third contracts. Because if Harris was 26 years old like Kevin Byard, no problem. 5-year deal, top tier money, give it to him, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because it's fine. It's fine because number of years left, amount of tread left on the tire, there's a lot. Right, and also your margin of error is a lot more than it would be when you have an older player. Where like we talked about, it's noteworthy that Jeff Gladney turns 24 this season because he'll be 29 years old the season after his 5th-year option. So don't you think that will factor in to potential second contract negotiations? Just a little bit, smidge, versus if he was 26 or 27. But yeah. But Harris, I do think even as he heads into age 29, that he will have 3 to 4 years of peak value left. I mean, last 2 years, he's really starting to hit that stride. I think that he could have a nice 5-6 year run as being one of the better covered safeties in the league. Anecdotally, as well, I do think that coverage safeties have a longer shelf life than box safeties. And again, it's purely anecdotal, fewer hits, agility stays with you longer than just physicality. But again, it's purely just like, it's like your grandma saying that chickens can tell when it's going to be a full moon because of the wolf, and they're like, I don't know. I botched that analogy. It does not matter. So I would feel fine giving Harris like a 3-year heavy type extension, front loaded first and second year. Third year is essentially a team option, and I actually think that Harris will be okay with that as well. In terms of value, somewhere in the neighborhood of Honey Badger, so we're talking 3-year, $42 million, $14 million per, which would tie him for the third highest paid safety in the NFL with Landon Collins as well as Honey Badger. And it also being a 3-year deal, it would allow Harris that if he stays in his prime, remains one of the best safeties in the game, that at the end of it, even at age 32, or heading into the season where he turns age 32, he's still able to get one more smaller, decent contract in if he's still playing at that high level. Like Devin McCourty getting a 2-year, $23 million deal at age 32. Harris, that could be a selling point with Harris. And even though it's weird to have 2 high-paid safeties on the same team, Harrison Smith earning $10+ million per year, I do think he's in line for one more extension as well, sort of freshen up that contract a little bit. We've said a bunch of times that since the Vikings don't have any cornerbacks on premium contracts, they're not paying Xavier $14 million a year, they're not paying Trey Waynes $14 million a year, which is fine. I mean, if you look at the defensive backfield as a whole, it doesn't really upset the positional spending if you factor that in. So you have all these cornerbacks on rookie or minimal deals, and then you have 2 high-paid safeties. Like what is the difference between that and having 2 high-paid safeties, 2 high-paid cornerbacks, and 2 minimal safeties? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Plus, cornerback contracts are generally larger than safety contracts at the top of the market, so it doesn't really matter there. But will Harris and the Vikings work out something long-term? I think it's more likely than Dalvin, frankly, just because the running back market is so variant, and it does seem like the Vikings and Dalvin are further apart in terms of money than Anthony Harris, because Anthony Harris is already making $11 million change on the franchise tag, bumping that up to $14 million. and giving it some window dressing, making a 3-year deal basically a 1-year deal. I don't think that'd be a lot of smoke off the Vikings' nose. They do have the cap space to do it. They have $12 million and change to operate, and also a long-term deal structured correctly could free up some cap space as well as Anthony Harris reduces 2020 cap number. So we'll see. Something will happen in the next 2 weeks, or nothing will happen because of that stupid July 15th rule. But it is what it is. All right, your thoughts. Anthony Harris, Vikings long-term deal, going to work out? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You want to support the work, pull us on the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.